He originally planned to create a fake university to deceive his parents, but unexpectedly received nearly 10 million in tuition fees. On the opening day, countless students showed up. He wondered how all these people had found their way here. It turned out that when his friend helped him create the fake website, he had also conveniently set up an online payment and registration system. These students, whom no other universities wanted, saw this place as a new refuge in life. However, Bart had no intention of actually keeping them. After some discussion, Bart decided to tell them the truth. But just as he was about to announce it on stage, he changed his mind because of one student. That student kept raising his hand, wanting to speak.
When I got accepted here, it was the first time my parents ever said they were proud of me.
Then everyone fell silent, because his words moved them all. Does being academically weak mean we don't deserve a university education? Inspired and emotional, Bart decided to go with the flow, and continue running this university. But the place was originally just an abandoned psychiatric hospital, with no teaching facilities whatsoever, which gave Bart a massive headache. He wanted to lie down and think things through. But then the headboard of his bed was suddenly smashed through by students. They were renovating their own dorm rooms. Walking around campus, Bart realized it looked more like an adult playground than a proper university. So, Bart secretly visited the prestigious century-old Harmon University next door to learn how a real university operates. However, the exam-oriented education there left Bart completely uninspired. Right at that moment, he ran into Monica, whom he had secretly admired for years. From her, he learned that the academic pressure at Harmon University was overwhelming. She had even given up her beloved photography major, simply because it wouldn't earn her a degree. Watching Monica walk away, Bart's thoughts drifted back to just after high school graduation. That day, Bart received notifications that even the worst universities in the state had rejected him. His sister hoped he would face reality and think about how to break the news to their parents. Bart told his parents that, from an economic perspective, if he started working and earning money now, it would be more cost-effective than going to university. But his father saw right through his little scheme.
Society has rules, and the first rule is, you go to college. You want to have a happy and successful life? You go to college. If you want to fit in, you go to college.
Well, you know what? Maybe I didn't get into college.
Faced with this argument, his father was left speechless. On the night of the graduation prom, Bart noticed many classmates hadn't gotten into university either, like the athletic kid, Black, and Lori, who had only applied to Yale. This made Bart feel a little better. He got up to leave, but was stopped by his friend Reed's father. The two approached Bart's parents. Reed's father proudly mentioned that his son had been accepted to Harmon University, while Bart's father took the chance to mock Bart for not getting into college. Even though his father was stating facts, it still hurt Bart deeply. That night, Bart was suddenly struck by inspiration. What if he started his own university, admitted himself, and maybe made his father proud? He mimicked Harmon University's acceptance letter, designed a new school emblem, and named the school South Harmon Institute of Technology. Then he asked his friend to help build a school website to trick his father into believing it. When Black found out about this opportunity, he immediately asked Bart to admit him too. The next day, Bart's father received the acceptance letter from South Harmon Institute of Technology, but he was suspicious. He had never heard of this school. Bart said he could show his father the school website.
You did it. You're a college boy.
Relieved, Bart went outside to mow the lawn. His father checked the website, though still finding it hard to believe. He was proud of Bart, and gave him the tuition money so he could focus on studying. To keep up the act, Bart and his friends found an abandoned psychiatric hospital, cleaned it up, and disguised it as a technology institute. As the start of the semester approached, Bart's father suddenly said he wanted to meet the university president. Bart panicked. Reed suggested asking his uncle, a former dean, to pretend to be the president. To keep the lie going, Bart had to pay a hefty sum to hire him. On opening day, Bart's father arrived as promised. Everything at the school was ready, except Reed's uncle wasn't very reliable. He kept blurting out too much truth.
We throw a lot of fancy words in front of these kids in order to attract them to going to school in the belief that they're going to have a better life. And we all know that all we're doing is breeding a whole new generation of buyers and sellers.
Fortunately, Bart reminded him in time, and he quickly adjusted his speech, explaining that the purpose of the school was to help students land good jobs. Satisfied, the parents left the campus, but Bart's sister sensed something was off. While Harmon University students were buried in books, Bart and his friends were lounging on sofas playing video games. Just then, a student knocked on the school gate. He excitedly told Bart he was there to register for the semester. Bart said he had the wrong place. Harmon University wasn't here. But the student insisted they hadn't made a mistake. They had been accepted by South Harmon Institute of Technology. Seeing the huge crowd of students, Bart felt a chill down his spine. He never expected his spur-of-the-moment idea would change the lives of these kids. The students surged forward, quickly flooding into South Harmon Institute of Technology. They were all rejects from other universities, and now this place was their last hope. Seeing the happy smiles on the parents' faces, Bart didn't know how to explain the situation. To figure out what was happening, he snuck into Harmon University and found Reed at a party. Reed explained that the admission admissions website he had designed was open to applicants nationwide, and now all these students had paid their tuition, totaling over 10 million. To avoid going to jail, Bart braced himself and decided to keep the school running. To figure out a teaching approach, Bart asked Reed's uncle for advice. His uncle said that, in essence, a university is a service industry. Students pay to experience life, so you have to think from their perspective. Inspired, Bart started asking the students what they wanted to learn. Once he got their answers, Bart began innovating and reforming education. He allocated the tuition fees wisely. Dylan loved cooking, so he built him a 5-star kitchen. Black was into sculpture, so he immediately bought various woods and tools. They loved singing and dancing, so he set up a performance stage. They were into extreme sports, so he built a racing track. He asked the students to write what they loved and were good at on a board, which became the school's unique curriculum. Under Bart's guidance, the students began to take the initiative to learn. They became both students and teachers, making the school vibrant and lively. However, Bart didn't realize that danger was already approaching. It turned out the president of Harmon University wanted to expand the campus, and South Harmon Institute of Technology was right within their demolition zone. To resolve this issue, the president sent the student council president to deal with it. So the student president immediately went to South Harmon, found Bart, and expressed his intention to buy the place. The two didn't get along, and Bart didn't let the student president into South Harmon. Frustrated, the student president left in a huff. Back home, he immediately investigated South Harmon Institute of Technology and discovered that it was a fake university. It had no official accreditation whatsoever. He also realized Bart was the mastermind behind it all. Feeling relieved, the student president flirted with a junior student, but was caught by his actual girlfriend, Monica. Monica broke up with him on the spot. Back home, she found a photography book on her table, a gift from Bart. Touched, Monica went to South Harmon. To her surprise, everyone there was smiling. Even though the school seemed a bit unconventional, it was full of vitality. Bart showed her around the campus and walked her back to Harmon University. But as soon as they reached the gate, they saw Reed dressed like a hamburger, standing on the lawn under the scorching sun, making a fool of himself. Bart thought Reed was degrading himself, but Reed didn't see it that way. He told Bart not to interfere. That night, Reed suddenly received a notification from Harmon University's fraternity. They had accepted his membership application. Reed was overjoyed. It turned out that to join the fraternity, Reed had been trying to please them, even drinking beverages they had spat in, and, as they demanded, wearing ridiculous outfits and waving at people on the street. However, Reed's happiness didn't last long. He soon realized that the student president had agreed to let him join, only to use him against his friend. The student president threatened Reed to reveal everything about South Harmon. Unwilling to betray his friends, Reed refused, so the student president beat him up. In the end, Reed confessed everything. Meanwhile, Bart had no idea disaster was looming. He was throwing a party with Monica and taking group photos with the students. When Bart went to find Reed, he discovered him covered in bruises. Guilt-ridden, Reed told Bart that he couldn't withstand the beating and had betrayed him. Now the student president was on his way to the school with the students' parents to expose Bart's lies. Bart rushed back to campus. He wanted to make up another lie, but the president of Harmon University didn't give him the chance. The president told everyone that South Harmon Institute of Technology had no legal accreditation. Bart had deceived them all and broken the law. The parents couldn't believe Bart had been so daring, but Bart had no defense. Finally, the president of Harmon University announced the school was disbanded. All the parents quickly took their children and left. The student president smugly mocked Bart, and Monica was deeply disappointed in him. Soon, the once lively South Harmon was left with only court subpoenas and closure notices. Facing the prospect of going to jail, Reed told Bart that if he could obtain an operating license before the verdict, the president of Harmon University would have no grounds to sue him. He had already submitted the application for accreditation on Bart's behalf, and a hearing was scheduled in a few days, so Bart had one last chance. Thus, Bart and his friends attended the hearing together, but all the students from South Harmon had voluntarily come to attend the hearing. The Department of Education official told Bart that a school must meet 3 conditions: facilities, curriculum, and teachers. Bart stood up and explained that South Harmon had classrooms and dormitories. It fully met the basic requirements for running a school, but the president of Harmon University retorted that Bart had merely rented a psychiatric hospital and had no traditional teaching facilities or resources. Bart had no comeback. Next, the official asked if they had a proper curriculum. Bart had the students bring out their course board, but the official wasn't convinced. Then he asked Bart if they had teachers. All the students immediately stood up. However, the official dismissed their legitimacy. Faced with the overbearing official, Bart finally couldn't take it anymore and stood up to say, Harmon University may have a century of tradition, but what exactly is that tradition?
Of hazing kids and humiliating anyone who's a little bit different, of putting so much pressure on kids they turn into these stress freaks and cafes.
The Harmon University officials were furious, accusing Bart of slandering a prestigious century-old institution, but they couldn't deny that traditional universities were hierarchical. Students were molded into well-behaved, obedient children, but lost their creativity and passion. However, South Harmon preserved all of that. The students here were the teachers. They knew what they wanted and worked toward it voluntarily. They pursued the lives they desired, free from traditional constraints, without bullying or blame, and they received the recognition recognition they deserved. Then Bart challenged the officials. Do you remember what your dreams were? They couldn't answer. This question won South Harmon Institute of Technology a 1-year provisional operating license. If their educational outcomes weren't satisfactory after a year, the school would be shut down. The Harmon University president's scheme had failed. As Bart was leaving, the Department of Education official approached and told him,
I wanted to play jazz trombone.
It's never too late, sir.
in the end, South Harmon Institute of Technology successfully reopened.